No, I think, Bernard, the ones who haven't figured it out is you. Jim Radley, Joe Zillig, Harry Race, Bernard the Chance, DJ Dave, Polita Quinwan, Elton Anderson, Don Wiley, 1961 Oyster Cracker Man, Bitted Bat 4 Blue Boy Boxes, GPS Paso Robo Rapist Night, Red Randy, Red Gordon and Ellery, Jim Hall, Bill Duvall, Country and Western, Karen Faust. Let's see. Morgan, so on and so forth. Bernard Perlita, if you want to play Jehovah so bad, what we do is you think we teach people how you, Bernard E. LaFag of La Chance of La Freeman, and your carny circus and the ghetto life of Perlita and all you guys, you're a plague, Bernard. And so what do? The smart ones go a little bit slower, Bernard, and study the plague that you brought through several cities. And then we teach people how to avoid the Carney Bernard and his war nostalgia with the fader out of Ellery thievery, how to avoid their plague. See, Bernard, Red Randy, you guys got the inbreeds all over the place, replicated like crazy, trying to prove. If you're so anti-Jehovah, that's fine, or anti-Jew, okay, but I'll use that. Like I said, Bernard, I haven't been to Kingdom Hall forever. Come on, dude. If you guys hate them so much, I'll use that to my advantage and teach the military and them, hey, there's something you could use to your advantage. See, what I want, Bernard, is to teach the military and people with their racism that they have to deal with, that they can use it to their advantage to beat the enemy instead of using it to, as leverage. And see, Bernard, if I had a chance, there's tons, like I said, there's people who have setups going that are probably 100 times better than what you've ever had with that group of men. What are farms, Bernard? What is Carney Circus, Bernard? So if you want to play Jehovah, DJ Dave, and all this shit you got going in and out, fading 3 or 4 times in a row, here's something. You know what polygamy is, Bernard? So if Dave were to bring Carrie to you, Bernard, in order for him to be your friend, you'd have to fuck Carrie. If I brought a girlfriend home, Karen, you guys have to fuck it? You gotta fuck her? See the problems you create with your philosophy of living, Bernard? I don't care if you're surrounded by every single woman in the world. Are you maybe learning a lesson from Hugh Hefner? He may be your friend, Bernard, but he may know something that you don't know. Okay, Bernard? Just because you're getting laid a bunch doesn't mean anything. Remember, it comes with problems. So as you're abusive to several cities, Bernard, and, travel around and fade it out and cover up, what does that mean? Like I said, Bernard, you're the ones who have to have all the paid-for scripts. You got to have the actors and all that. I'm not paying for that stuff. Like, I got a crappy $150 fucking notebook, dude. Look at all the shit that you guys have employed against me in the last, 6 years that I've been out here. Like I said, that's millions of dollars you've all blown instead of doing something productive, man. Like I said, Bernard, you turned me into something that I wasn't before. Okay? As opposed to how we started out on there. So what I do, Bernard, like I said, you want me to fight a war that I didn't want to do. Joe and them did. And so I'll help your military out. And the tech companies and all of them, Bernard, because I'm sure they're paying attention, they get it. To teach them about the plague of Bernard and his war rant with the cowboy country and Indians. If he wants to play Jehovah with Karen and all that, they're bad. And we teach them how to avoid the plague of their constant dumb fuckery across the United States. Because, Bernard, I have relatives that I know you do not know, who watch this stuff like a hawk. Especially with my father. And if you destroyed his gift because, you know, the all-American Antilla man thinks he could do whatever the fuck he wants, then we teach him about the all-American plague and how to avoid it. Get it, Bernard, if you want to play Jehovah, that's bad with your bidded bet for. You know, you keep asserting the same thing over and over and over again, and look at the destruction that your war creates. What does war create, Bernard? Plague. So the ways it works with you cowboy hillbillies is if you have a child, Bernard, and they bring home a girlfriend, you're that polygamously fag that you have to fuck it in order for that child to be accepted. See the problems you guys create with that philosophy, Bernard? I can actually tell, Bernard, with your attitude and how you approached it with Ellery, that you're like anti-Jay Beswick, all this stuff, anything that he tried to do for his kids, or anybody else, Bernard. By the condition, and it basically proves that you guys did the same thing to him and me and Greg Faust tried to kill us to fuck their wives or their daughters. Bernard, this is not a hard thing to figure out. So real military men who really want to, you know, change the world, Bernard, because I know I'm not going to, but there are higher ranking people who will. That's why Jewish Colonel Melkov, a neighbor, I've eaten dinner with him. I want him to win. And Colin Powell, and, you know, those who have earned it, Bernard. And we let them, I have trust in their leadership, Bernard, because they've gotten the country through it this far. And we teach them about the men who create the plagues. And so how could you have ever been God, Bernard? Because you always come in and out with the circus, and then you take people's stuff, and then you run away and go, oh, we got it so much better here. Are you sure, Bernard? Just because you get there first, Bernard, doesn't mean that you know, win. Those who tend to go a little bit slower and study things and see what happens, you know, in a realistic manner, get it to work better, Bernard. LaChance. So like I said, if those guys have been watching and they saw you guys go through your destructive rant out here, Bernard, for the experimentator man across the United States, and usually the first stuff that's said in is better, but you guys, most people make mistakes. Bernard, they're going to go a little bit slower this time and learn from their past enemies how to beat their new ones, huh? Wouldn't that only make sense? See where your war philosophy and your pretend I and your chipped shit, Bernard, this torture machine that you've inlaid in the Zillig girls, any women, men, children that defy you, is a piece of shit. You destroyed the original intent, which was probably going to be the best one, so you guys could hot dog and showboat with your show, Bernard, while everybody, like I said, sit on the couch and watch. Shh, shh. Whispering faggot to Fairmount. The Crown Hill obsessed man over the graves that they're not his. Like I said, I do this to help my father. And so maybe he'll get a message saying, you know, I don't want to get buried there now. Because Team Dumb Shit of Nasty Sickery is all hovering around it. So that helps avoid a certain plague, not only for him, but a lot of military service members, and they can check on some stuff on their own cemeteries, Bernard, because grave robbing and all that stuff is nothing new. While the Tomb Raider boy runs the Carney Circus doing the same stunt, which has already been done out here, Bernard, and you know it. And Colorado, because that's all you guys have done. Money. So, Bernard, if you run back and forth between borders and all that, you, Bernard, when you strike up this thing, when there's nothing wrong, strike up this big old thing, this whole crybaby fit did you guys throw, proves a guilty conscience of things that you have done. So, Bernard, if you're going to take over a city and crybaby through the airplanes and all that and screw people over, and there's probably a lot, they get to teach their young and all how to avoid the plague of Bernard LaChance and the Carnies and the Ghetto Life of Perlita and all that. If Jehovah is what you really want to play. Then you'll find out, Bernard, who is really quote unquote Jehovah. It's not me. See how I can help the people become God in a certain way. But Bernard, be careful. Because there's a lot of rich men in the world that watch and listen. That sometimes, like I said, didn't ever want to commit crime at all. They wanted to do it in a legitimate way. But they're forced in a certain situation. Be careful, Bernard, about announcing yourselves as first to being God of a computer system or anything. Because they're going to use you for an example forever, supposed Jehovah and Taco Joe and Ellery's. And they'll go, okay, then we'll teach people how to avoid the plague. So be careful, Bernard. If you know what a ringmaster is of the Carney Circus, if you want to be the ringmaster, be careful, Bernard, because it might be some of your own carnies teaching their own and other people how to avoid you. Because maybe they never wanted to torture people. Desperate times call for desperate measures. And if money is what you love, money is what you shall have. Princess Leia, right? Or you can use your brain, like she liked. Bernard, Star Wars, blue lightsaber. I think Bernard LaChance and his team are jealous of the Schwartzes. Yes, I think so. And also the Biswigs. I think. And the Bueller girls and some other girls all over. All over. Super Hardy Chick Hiltons. The Rothschilds. Kennedys, Bowmans. Bernard, how about this? Just stop jacking up people's faces, man. With your special technology device or whatever, dude. And a lot of the problems that you people have go away. Just stop doing it, dude. I did it so I look better than you. So what, Bernard? I don't care how many times you're getting laid or whatever. It's a plague because, guess what? You're passing on be careful with the polygamy stuff. Genetic mutation. So if you want to go join the Negroes in that cult and that problem again, Bernard, go ahead. But guess what? You failed to learn a scientific lesson of chemistry. Look at these split. And so if you want to keep joining them in their little pyramid circle, Bernard, or whatever, go ahead. But if they want to be smartasses and play Jehovah, we'll teach them and the world how to avoid that plague. So instead of, I don't hate Jehovah's Witnesses or Jews, Bernard, because a lot of them are my family. I just use their intellect, their wisdom to go, it's you racists that have to change, Bernard. That's why you're the ones missing out by putting stuff in and ripping it out, man. It's your smartass attitude, Bernard, in wanting to go to war with me and other people all the time, which is a plague. And when I'm dead and gone and I pass away, guess who's going to win, Bernard? That at which you claim to command with Ellery is going to beat your ass down. Because they won't have to deal with you anymore, dude.